Welcome to the Plugged In Golf Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Saturnus, and we are going to kick off this week's episode with another installment of This Week in Gear, something we tried last week. We got good feedback on, so we'll dive a little deeper into a couple of pieces of gear before we get to our interview. I want to start by going back to a Golf Myths Unplugged we did a couple weeks ago and talk about the BGT, the Breakthrough Golf Technologies RedZone shaft. And if you read that Golf Myths Unplugged, basically we were trying to test whether or not this lives up to its claims of better dispersion. They claim much better distance control, much better dispersion right to left. I don't know that they claim lower launch and higher spin. I'd have to refresh my memory, but that's what I saw, is that this is a super, super stiff shaft. And so it does launch a bit lower. It did generate a little bit more spin for me. Here's my takeaway with that, from that myth, I want to kind of revisit it just because I put it into different words. It kind of came to me in a different way recently when thinking about it. This is still one fitting option. Okay, I would not say that everybody should play this. It's going to be everybody's best shaft. We saw that in our testing. Everybody really liked it, but it wasn't the best numbers, didn't produce the best numbers for every single player. But nobody was bad with it. So what I would say about this is that the ceiling is potentially very, very high with this, because some people did put up really outrageously good numbers. I'm one of them. I put up really good numbers with this thing. But also the floor is very high. And that's kind of rare. Typically, when we talk about floor and ceiling, we say, oh, it has a high floor, but the ceiling isn't that high, right? It's not going to be bad for you, but it's not going to be really good. Or it has a high ceiling. It has the potential to be awesome, but it has the potential to have a really low floor. This is kind of best of both worlds. High floor and high ceiling. Now, the other high is high price tag. So I don't think a lot of people are going to run out and try this and buy a whole set of them just to give it a shot. I mean, some people are. We're going to talk about cost in golf equipment in a second here. If you can, great, do it. But if you're going to get a wedge fitting, it's worth checking out to see if you're one of those people where this is going to really dramatically improve your results. So I just wanted to get that in on the RedZone here, just because, as I said, I think that's a nice way to think about this. High floor and high ceiling. It's something to check out if you want to see some improvement in your wedge game. The other thing that I want to talk about are these MacGregor irons. These are the MT-Pros. If you're part of our small but hopefully growing YouTube audience, I was told to put the clubs on camera, give the YouTube audience something to see, so I am doing that. These are really beautiful clubs. I really like the way these look. They're clean, simple, player's cavity backs, and really a pretty modest cavity back on these. Again, the review went up last week, and it's hard to start anywhere else with these other than the price. This is a 7-piece set you can get for $500. When TaylorMade and Callaway are doing a 7-piece set for $1,400, it's hard to not start with the price and just say what a good value this is. I'm not beating up any company. Everybody can charge whatever you want for golf clubs, and you should. That's fine. But a lot of the comments we get are, oh, golf clubs are too expensive. The price of things is going up too much, blah, blah, blah. I get it. That's why I really like reviewing a lot of this direct-to-consumer stuff, more value-priced stuff, because these are really, really good. On a pure performance level, they're as good as the other clubs in their category. I think they look great. We got some doofus on Instagram. I posted the pictures of these and he said, oh, the face looks like it came from a box set. What are you talking about? I mean, here's the face of these clubs. What about this club looks like it isn't Titleist, TaylorMade, Callaway, Ping, whoever else? Like, it's unbelievable the way people are driven by brands, and I get it. I like certain brands. I wear Nike shoes because for very silly reasons, because I went to Duke and Duke is a Nike school, and that is my primary reason why I have my brand allegiance to Nike. But I don't go around saying, "Oh yeah, those Under Armour shoes, look terrible just because of the brand on them." Right? Actually, look at the club. What about this club isn't good looking? If you crossed off MacGregor and put Mizuno on there, Mizuno's fanboys, who are absolutely the most rabid out there, would go nuts. The number of flame emojis being used would start a wildfire. So just be sensible when we're looking at these clubs. Look at what they actually are. Again, getting into performance, they're not redefining the category, but they don't need to. Neither is the player's cavity back from Titleist, Ping, Mizuno, etc. When I hopefully I will test the TaylorMade P7 and CBs soon, I expect them to be very similar to this. What these offer is a little bit above average spin, a little bit of forgiveness, and a lot of shot control. These are for the player who wants to control their ball, control trajectory, control shot shape, and be responsible for their own shots. If they hit the center of the face, they're going to get a good result. If they miss it, they can miss a little bit and get a good result. But you miss a lot, you're going to get what you get. But for $500, again, you can't not go back to the price. It's such a good value. If you are playing more of a game improvement club now and you want to give this a try, you want to try and move up, so to speak, into a more difficult to hit club, a more versatile club, do it with these. Why? It's a great idea, and you can find out pretty quickly whether or not that's a move you should be making. Now, I have not put up the review of these yet. These are the Ram Axial Forged. The same parent company owns MacGregor and Ram now. So we're putting both of these on screen for you here. They both come in at $500 for the set. I'm sorry about the glare for the YouTube audience. Very similar story overall with both these irons, but some slight differences. The Ram has a slightly thicker sole, a little bit more offset, and that is done to, let me put it the other way. Also, the lofts are a little stronger. They're about 1 degree stronger throughout to negate that thicker sole and the more offset. So you've got some nice choices there. If you want to move into a player's iron, but you want a little more help with your thin strikes, go with the Ram. You feel like you still need a little more help keeping the ball off the right side of the course, go with the Ram. You want more of the traditional low offset, thinner sole, go with the MacGregor. But again, at the same price, $500 for a 7-piece set, basic forged players' cavity backs, it's really hard to go wrong with either of these. So those are two to check out if you are looking for new irons and you want to do something more in that value category. Before we get to the interview with John Mazzanoble from JumboMax Grips, I want to let you know that this week's podcast is brought to you by ShotScope. I've got my ShotScope V5 here. This is the shot tracker I use every time I play. I just realized how dirty it was when I put it on screen here. I had to clean it up a little bit. If you want to understand your game better, you've got to be shot tracking. It's just, I say it almost every week. It's true. You don't understand what's going on with your game until you are shot tracking, keeping data on every single stroke you make. That is an easy thing to do when you have ShotScope. You put the tags in your clubs, put on the watch, or you can carry the H4 if you'd rather have a handheld instead of the watch, and then everything else happens automatically. At the end of the round, you'll download your data to your phone, and then you can see it on the dashboard on your computer. You can look at it on your phone. You're going to have strokes gained, make things really, really easy. Some simple one-number stats to tell you how your driving, approach, and short game and putting are. Or you can get really granular and look at every single stroke that you made while you played and how that turned out. You can learn more about ShotScope products from the reviews on pluggedingolf.com, or you can go to their website shotscope.com. We're now joined on the Plugged In Golf podcast by John Mazzanoble, the president of JumboMax Golf Grips. John, thank you for coming on the show.
Hey, my pleasure, Matt. Great to be on with you today.
Yeah. So I always like to start by asking, how did you get started playing golf?
Oh, how did I get started? Probably like a lot of people, Matt. I started playing with my dad and my brothers. I happen to be the youngest of three brothers by a lot. My middle brother was 11 years older, and my eldest brother was 17 years older than I was. So a late bloomer. I happened to be left-handed, so there wasn't left-handed clubs back when I picked up the game. So basically learned to play right-handed and fell in love with the game and pursued it into being a teaching pro and now president of JumboMax Golf Grips.
Very cool. And what led you to go from being a teaching pro to being involved more on the business side?
I was always fascinated with the technology end of it. And, when I had the opportunity with JumboMax, I just fell in love with the product. I started using it. And as a teaching pro, and one of the biggest misnomers is that skinny grips, bigger grips are going to make you push it to the right.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of things that we've learned over the years through trial and error of big grips and heavier grips that kind of disproved a lot of the old myths about bigger grips. So I had the opportunity to get back into the business. I'd been away from it for a little while, doing other things in my life, raising a family, and this opportunity came up, and I'm sure glad it did because it's been a heck of a journey so far.
Nice. And so you mentioned myths around big grips. Let's just jump in there. What are a couple of the biggest misconceptions you hear people say when they see your grips? They say, "Oh, I couldn't do that because X."
Yeah, I think the two biggest things that I hear is you're going to hit it dead right and slice it. I've actually seen slicers start drawing the ball, which is great when I see that. But and the other thing is by changing the swing weight, somehow you're going to change your game for the worse. And it couldn't be further from the truth. We've come to the conclusion that swing rate is irrelevant, and it's more based on performance and the repeatability and sequencing of the golf swing. So whatever the most efficient way is, from a grip standpoint, to grip the club, we're a proponent of. We make standard grips. We make standard oversized grips, standard jumbo grips. But where we start separating ourselves is the JumboMax line really begins at the extra small, and it goes through what Bryson does in the extra large. We actually have over 40 sizes and variations of grips. A lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah, and we definitely want to cover and get into like all the different variations in a little bit. But you said something there that I think it it'll pique people's interest. You said swing weight is irrelevant.
Yes.
100%, or just
as long as it's
there's
consistent through the bag. I mean, you don't want clubs weighing a bunch of different weights, but for that measurement alone, yes, it's valid. But when you start deciding if a club is right for you and you're sticking to the notion that a D2 is the only swing weight, that's your optimum swing weight, all the different testing we've done, and I've done thousands of fittings and watched people swing different weighted grips and worked with the best players in the world, Bryson DeChambeau, the longest hitters in the world, Justin James, Martin Borgmeyer. So we've had great students, great people, some of the most knowledgeable people in the game. And we've all come to the same conclusion. Some people are winning golf tournaments in the C's. Some people are winning golf tournament in the E's. There's no one right way. We're all built differently. We all have different delivery mechanisms. So why would we all try to stick to one uniform size grip and one weight? Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no, that when you say it that way, I'm totally with you. That makes a ton of sense. I think so many people need to kind of look outside the box of just, oh, I've got to play D2 to D4.
Right.
Right? Why not try a C and just see what it feels like?
Well, my thing is when you start seeing 3 more miles an hour and about a 20% tighter dispersion, that's when I ask why.
Sure.
I don't ask, if that's the best performing weight for them, I'm all for it, But we have the technology now with flight scopes and foresights and all these great launch monitors that can tell us our numbers, tell us our spin access. I mean, we can correct spin access with just the size of a golf grip. I mean, now that we have this technology, we can really drill down to see what's working the best.
Yeah. So you also mentioned, bigger grips. The myth is that they'll make you pushed out right. Do you see a strong correlation between bigger grips do X or Y, or is it purely one to one? Yeah, every individual is different, and you've got to just take each person and kind of start fresh with your idea of how to fit them.
No, I think there's a kind of a universals. What if you understand what big grips do? What they're actually doing is slowing down the club face rotation.
Okay.
So when you think of terms like that, you're like, okay, well, that actually can give you more control when you're relaxed. So people tend to really squeeze hard on skinny grips, and there's a lot of tension there. If you're able to just get your hands on something a little bit bigger and it kind of relaxes some of those muscles, then you're using your bigger muscles and you're really releasing the club. Some people learn to release for the first time because of the less tension. So there's a lot of different ways to take a look at what the big grip does, but most importantly, it slows down the face rotation and the diameter that the club rotates open and closes less. So it's less club rotation at a slower rate. So when you start understanding that, matching that to your ball flight, it's like, oh, wait a minute, I overdraw the ball. Well, you would want to go slightly bigger. And when we get into our fitting app, it's designed with your game in mind. So we kind of ask questions and probe the questions that we've learned over the years that we find most useful to getting you into the proper grip.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you brought it up. Let's just go there. You just launched an app pretty recently. Give me the why on that. Obviously, developing an app is not free, especially a good app. Your app looks really good. It functions nicely. What's the reason behind launching an app for a grip company?
Just customer service. The number one question that I get, and it could be, whether it's a fitter at PJ Superstore or somebody writing into our website, what size grip should I get? It's the top question that we have. And, you can go in to a drugstore anywhere in the country and put your foot on a pad and get fitted for an insole. So we said to ourselves, wait a minute, why can't we do that with our grips? We know the performance aspects of it. So if we intuitively build in the right questions and you take advantage of today's technology with the heat mapping, why not? And so far it's been a hit for us, and it kind of helps people. It's a really good guideline. I would be remiss to say it's not quite as good as an in-person fitting, and we're currently in the process of bringing on fitters all over the country, and it's fun to do, but hopefully within the first quarter of next year, you'll be able to find a fitting center as well.
Very cool. So the app is free, for people listening. It's free to use. It's really kind of a simple app insofar as it does one thing. You just go through the questionnaire, you measure your hand, and it gives you a grip recommendation. So, if somebody's sitting at home thinking, why do I want to download this? If you're interested in knowing more about grips and grips that could help your game, that's why you would download this. Is that pretty fair?
Absolutely, yeah. It's definitely going to be a roadmap, at least to get into the JumboMax brand. If you have that curiosity, and I think there is a lot of curiosity now about bigger grips, it's there for you as a tool just to help guide you into what we think can optimize your game.
Yeah. So for somebody who is generally into gear, maybe they're curious about JumboMax or not, what would you say is the biggest reason they should check out bigger grips, A, and B, JumboMax bigger grips?
Our reviews, our fans, the people that are writing in every day. We can let them speak for us. We can let Bryson's play speak for us. Braden Shattuck won the Club Pro PGA this year. We've won several long World Drive Championships to date, and we haven't been around very long. So we seem to have a really good trend of winning right now. We have players on every tour coming to us. Too many professional athletes to name.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I definitely have a dream team in basketball, and we're building a great football team right now. So
I'm a hooper.
Legends, Hall of Famers. It's crazy.
As a hooper, who's on the basketball dream team? I know maybe you can't say names. I don't know, but what's the?
I'm not advertise, but we have the best, I would say. If you wanted to pick your best 5 living basketball players, I would say they probably all use JumboMax.
I don't know if LeBron golfs, so I'm not sure about that one.
LeBron, well, he's still playing, so I guess I didn't include LeBron. I don't know if he uses them, but I would say, just
I got
trust
you.
me when I say we got all the studs.
I got you.
It's a tight community and word spreads, and those guys. We actually probably need to go to the XX at some point for some of these athletes because their hands are just so big.
Yeah.
You start defeating the purpose even with our extra large. So
yeah,
good stuff. You did see Charles Barkley's swing did improve about a year and a half ago.
That's a good one. I'll tell you what, you get him swinging better. That's a really good endorsement.
I felt like we might have as good a chance as anybody. And,
yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. You mentioned going to the XXL. The name is JumboMax. People hear it, they think big grips. But your line now has really expanded. You've got lots of different models, all kinds of different sizes. Can you speak to the full breadth of the line? And if somebody's listening who doesn't have an idea, what all can they see in your line?
I mean, I just happen to have some grips behind me here, and I'll just hold the camera up. You can kind of see
for the new YouTube audience. Beautiful.
That's it. So you can see there's JMX in there. There's the traditional JumboMax. This is the wrap. This is also this is the one Bryson, the ultralight. That's the one that really got us going. This is the Tour series. That's the current grip that Bryson weighs. This is a counterweight balance grip, so it has extra weight in it.
Okay.
So you have 4 variations of different textures, sizes, and weights right there, all the way to what people were playing right now. It's the standard oversized grip, nothing fancy.
And in terms of size, you have grips as small as the conventional standard grip, as smaller than that even?
It's almost, it's close to undersized, really.
Okay.
We have the full gamut of, because we do a lot of, grip fitting in person. And really what we do is we get a baseline with the size grip that the player's currently using. So gives us their data. Then we can go to the grip fitting app and find the grip we recommend, and we test against that grip that they're currently using. And then from there, we usually can tell if we need to go a little bit bigger or smaller to get them into the right grip.
Yeah.
So it's pretty thorough. The way we go through that process.
What I really like, and anybody who's listened to this knows, I've been pushing fitting since day one. It's the biggest thing. It sounds like to me, you think there's value in bigger grips, kind of period, but really what you're pushing is grip fitting, and grip fitting across a much bigger spectrum than most people are used to.
I'm biased, but I think grip fitting is the next huge breakthrough in golf. I think it's going to change golf more than just about anything's changed golf over the years.
Yeah.
For the recreational players, it's just going to make the game more fun, easier to play. Golf is played with the skinniest handle of any sport in the world. And golf also has the skinniest handle of just about any tool. So if you're going to grab a screwdriver, a hammer, a shovel, a broom, you're going to look for a little leverage and some surface contact with your palm. The golf grip does not afford that. It's a finger-based grip, and you have no surface contact for your palm. And we've been taught to grip it a certain way because really that's your only choice. You can't grip it in your palm. You don't have enough finger leverage to hold it because it's too small. But as soon as you double the size of that grip, now it fits comfortably in the palm, and you've got more leverage in your fingers because you have something to hold on to. It's not so skinny, so you don't have to squeeze it as hard.
That's interesting. So do you feel like when people change to a much bigger grip, they are changing something about the way they actually hold the club?
They're getting a better connection to the handle. So if you look at your hand, there's a bone here. It's right in the pad, and it's called the physiform. And your ulnar runs right up and connects right there to the physiform. So your ulnar connects here. So if you look at where a JumboMax, I'll grab the grip that I play. This is the small. You can see that I've got it resting on the physiform, and it's connected here.
Sure.
When you grip a standard grip, you're losing that connection,
Huh.
and you have a lot of extra room to hinge and get out of whack or
Okay.
come over the top or whatever. There's a lot more hand play. And
Okay.
remember, remember that the face is doing it at a faster rate. So you're
Sure.
trying to control something with the small part of your fingers that has extra hinge and is moving at a quicker pace. I mean, you're just not connected.
Yeah, makes sense. Do you feel like the growth of big grips has really just been kind of hockey stick over the last couple of years? Or you've been with the company, I think 14 years I saw. Has it been pretty steady, or really is it just these last few years that we're seeing it blow up?
It's going in increments,
Okay.
incrementally. Nobody would really look at us in the very beginning. It was just about getting a few people to give us a chance.
Hmm.
And the arthritic crowd were the most of the believers there. So we started out in the villages and did very well in the villages. People realized that they were playing some of their best golf. So that's the part that really got us excited. So we never really advertised us to be an arthritic only grip. We were a performance grip.
Hmm.
So, along came a kid named Bryson when he was 15 years old, and we linked up with his old coach Mike Shy, and it ended up working out pretty good because he started playing him when he was 15, and we followed his career and really got to know him during the NCAA and amateur championships, and
Hmm.
he became a big part of what we do. And I think when he started out on the PGA Tour, we definitely had some growth there. And then as he won, there was more growth. And there's still we're not close to where we think we can be, but now that we're opening up these fitting centers and getting the word out, I think we're going to get there.
Yeah. Um, Now, that's cool to hear that Bryson has grown organically with you. You kind of have been together along the whole ride. Obviously, we see a lot of golfers when they become successful, they link on with a lot of companies, but you guys have been together all along. Um, how much has Bryson influenced the things you guys offer? Because he's obviously a super well-known gearhead.
I think some of the just sessions that we've been able to have with Bryson over the years has been invaluable to learning. Thing about Bryson that's the best thing about him is he just is not scared to work and just go down rabbit holes and go to one extreme to another. A lot of golfers they'll pick up, maybe one size bigger and maybe 5 grams. Okay, let me see that. And they'll try some. I mean, he's not as scared to do, some of the testing that's required
Hmm.
to have groundbreaking breakthroughs. And, a lot of the things we've learned and, we've been able to develop, he's a part of.
Yeah. Now, Bryson is one of the more polarizing guys in golf. Certainly, his success is helpful to you guys. Uh, is there any negative? Is there a downside to having a polarizing player as kind of your top spokesperson?
Uh, you know, I don't think there's a downside to it. No, I think Bryson is a genuine person, and he says some things that he pushes the label. He's
Hmm.
not as scared to do that, and that's what's great about him. I don't think you can take away what makes somebody great and then still expect to see the greatness. I think you got to we got to get back to being able to let individuals be individuals. And so, we've always supported Bryson, and he's always been a huge part of what we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
One more grip fitting question, then just switching gears back. You talk about grip fitting being kind of the next big frontier in club fitting, and I totally agree. But obviously, you know as well as anybody, grip fitting is we don't have the easy technology the way we fit together heads and shafts at a club
Mhm.
champion, for example. Um, what's the plan, or is there some technology coming down the road that's going to make it so that players can come in, hit their 7-iron with your grip, with somebody else's grip, anything like that? or is there a different approach altogether that I'm not thinking of?
I think there's a few different approaches we're taking right now. We're going to be mobile, so we're going to have some vans on the road to be able to go to different places and service different players,
Hmm.
kind of bring the product to them a little bit, which has always been successful for us in the past. We're working with different fitting centers. I think what you're going to see right now is kind of a grassroots where you'll see a lot of your local fitters starting to do the JumboMax fitting. And, we'll see. Hopefully this gets to that next level and we'll see some of the higher, well-known fitters starting to use us in their system as well. I just think it's important, you got to find a way to test different sizes. It's too
Hmm.
valuable. You're missing too much out of the fitting if you don't fit the grip.
Yeah, I agree. And as somebody who is more scientific minded, for me, I play a mid-size grip traditionally. And if I'm getting fit with all standard size grips, and then they say, well, we'll just throw a mid-size grip on there at the end, that doesn't really feel good to me because you're gonna change the swing weight, you're gonna change the way the club feels, you're gonna change the way the club performs. So I do think that's something that as an industry, as a fitting industry, we need to figure out better. Um, is there anything before we switch to our back nine segment that you would like people to know about Jumbo Max, about the grips, the fitting, anything like that, the benefits that I haven't opened up for you?
I mean, I think we covered a lot of it, Matt. It's really something I think everybody should try. I think it's got some benefits. You're not going out buying a new driver or investing in a new set of irons or, you know, doing an elaborate fitting. Download the app, give it a try. Order one or two grips on a driver and 7-iron, and maybe it'll help you
Yeah,
transform your game. So
yeah, it is really, especially as we're getting toward the end of the season. It's an easy thing. It's not a very very expensive thing to try that could be pretty transformative for some people's game.
we have had a little bit of a run here lately, so we are kind of on back order. I want to let people know we're
All right.
catching up right now on inventory. So
Yeah, hopefully people are understanding and patient with growing companies and hopefully happy for your success there as we are.
I
So we'll switch
appreciate
to
it.
our back nine here and wrap up. What is your favorite golf club you've ever owned?
Oh man, I used to have a two. Can I use two?
Sure.
Well, I had a pinnacle driver that I could hit off the ground. Uh, and I used to love that club. And I had a 1-iron, a ping 1-iron that I used to really enjoy hitting. So
And are either of them still around for you, or are they both
long gone,
long gone?
long gone. As my golf game, yeah. Yeah.
Who would be in your dream foursome? And you can go in or out of golf.
Oh wow, that's a tough one. My dream foursome. Dream foursome. I'll stick with golf. That's easy enough. I'd like to play with. Wow, that's tough. I'd like to play with Jack Nicklaus. I'd like to play with Tiger. And let's see. Who would be the fourth? That would be tough. I'd probably say Ben Hogan.
It's a good group. Be
Yeah.
hard to keep up with, but it'd be fun to try.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is the best golf tip you ever received?
Uh Hit the inside of the ball.
Okay.
Hold my spine angle and hit the swing from 7 to 1 o'clock.
Yep. That's it.
So I drilled that for a long time as a kid and it worked out for a long time.
Nice.
Probably should go back to that.
Yeah. What is a feature you hate to see on a golf course? A lot of OB, forced carries, anything at all?
Uh yeah, OBs.
OB?
A lot of OB.
Yeah. What is your favorite golf destination?
Mm. Uh St. Andrews to date.
Okay. If you could trade places with somebody in the golf industry today, could be a player, media, industry, anything at all, who would it be?
For golf industry, That's a good one. I'm not sure. Jim Nance.
You know, that's the best answer I ever got, and that's funny that you bring him up too. I was not expecting it when I heard it the first time, and it's a hard answer to beat. It's a really, really good one.
Oh man, he's got it made. He doesn't have. I mean, he's got pressure, but he's at all the big events. He's the man.
Yeah,
You know, he's privy to it all. He's right in the middle of it.
yeah,
And
yeah. It
he's
is. I
smooth.
imagine he can play anywhere he wants to play. So that's what I'm jealous of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you gamble on the golf course, and if so, what's your game?
Yeah, I gamble. We play Wolf a lot.
Okay, it's a good one. If you were the golf czar, you can change anything you want about the game. Professional tours, rules for regular people, anything at all. What's the first thing you're going to do?
Shot clock.
Shot clock for pro golf or for everybody?
Everybody.
I love it.
Everybody.
I love it. Last question. If you could tell all golfers one thing, what would it be?
Play fast.
Play fast. I love it. You'd be a very popular golf czar. John, this has been great. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
All right, Matt. Thanks.